Hey, what's up? So yeah, today we are going to talk about hand tracking on the Oculus Quest. I was lucky enough to experience all of that at Oculus Connect 6. Facebook flew me over to check it out, and it was such a blast. I really enjoyed diving deeper into VR with my actual hands. So in this video, I will pretty much tell you everything you need to know, from how it works to who it's for, and most importantly, I will be sharing with you my hands-on impressions. See what I did there? But let's get started by talking about how all of this magic happens on the Quest, because it is quite interesting what happens inside this headset. And we're gonna just start off with the basics. The way your hands are getting tracked is of course getting done through the 4 cameras on the outside of the Oculus Quest. That's no secret, and when holding your hands in front of your headset, it will use deep learning and model-based tracking to transform your real hands into virtual ones. This means that the software that makes all of this magic happen in real time learns along the way. So the more it knows, the better the experience becomes. To dive a little bit deeper into this subject, and this might be a little bit complicated for some out there, it pretty much comes down to deep neural networks that can predict the location of your hands as well as landmarks such as joints of the hands. These landmarks, these points, are then used to reconstruct a 26 degree of freedom pose of the person's hands and fingers. The result is a 3D model that includes the configuration and the surface geometry of the hand itself. I thought a little science moment in this video would be fun, so there you have it. But let's talk more about who this hand tracking is for. What purpose does it serve? Because that's also a very important subject. So Facebook has said that with hand tracking on Quest, people will be able to be more expressive in virtual reality and connect on a deeper level in social experiences. Not only will the community of VR enthusiasts and early adopters benefit from more natural forms of interaction, but also newcomers, of course, who buy the Quest as their first headset. Hand tracking will reduce the barriers of entry to VR, especially for people who may not be familiar with gaming controllers, such as the touch. People could, for example, use their hands to navigate through the menu of the Quest, pause a movie with just a gesture, or express themselves more naturally in social games such as VR Chat, Altspace, Horizon, and many others. When training employees with the Quest, an instructor could lead a VR-based training class without having to maintain a fleet of controllers. And it will probably be easier for people to use their hands instead. So there you have it, that's how it works and that's who it's for. And it's great to see Facebook making these steps, because there are still so many people out there who are struggling with how you have to interact in VR, how you need to move yourself forward, etc. There are so many bumps in the road that are still not solved, but with hand tracking there is a lot that can be done. But let's move on to the thing that everyone wanted to hear me talk about, and that is, what was the experience like? How is the hand tracking on the Oculus Quest? Is it any good? Well, here we go. So the hand tracking demo I tried at Oculus Connect was a short training simulation in where I stepped into a kitchen with water damage. Yes, water damage. Before I put the headset on, they told me I was working for the insurance and that I had to make an indication on how much repair would cost. So I simply had to use my hands to point out the places where the damage was located. Honestly, this demo was quite boring and didn't give you much opportunities to really use your hands. It was simplified to the point where I couldn't grab anything but had to awkwardly use my fingers to poke things such as cabinets and menus. And don't get me wrong here, for an insurance demo made for training purposes, it does make sense to tone it down like that. But to show something like this to the press was a bit strange. It just didn't give us an idea of what the full potential of hand tracking would look like. Of course, that didn't stop me from checking out the accuracy of the hand tracking. I had to test out what the Quest was capable of, but it's funny that there is always this person standing next to you that wants to make sure that everything runs fine and that you understand what you have to do. And she was constantly asking me like, hey, are you doing fine? Are you doing all right? Do you know what you have to do? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Well, I was just, looking at my hands, discovering how solid the hand tracking was. So I basically tried to win time so I could stay in VR as long as possible. I stood in a line for about an hour, so I had to make the most out of it. Anyways, let's move on to the demo itself. So when I dove in, I wasn't that impressed by the hand tracking. I'm just going to be honest here. It's been many years ago that I got to try hand tracking. I bought a Leap Motion 3 years ago, and that was my first time that I got into hand tracking myself. So that part didn't feel new or different, but I'm sure that if you use it for the first time, your brain is going to explode. But what I was impressed by was the fact that the hand tracking that I tried was running on a standalone VR headset, the Oculus Quest, and that is so cool. You can just take this headset with you on the go and interact with your hands wherever you are. And when I got to play with my Leap Motion, that wasn't possible. You had to hook your headset up to a PC, and then you had this USB going to the Leap Motion to power it, and then you could get started. But now it's all built in. It's one package, and that's it. Let me explain you what it's like to use your hands in virtual reality. I can best compare it to playing air guitar. If you used to play air guitar, you know that in the end you have to use your imagination to play the guitar, but there is no physical interaction. You make it all up. In this case, the imagination becomes a virtual reality, since you can see your actual hands and you can touch objects that aren't there. But just like air guitar, you just don't feel anything. So that's kind of what it's like. It's hard to explain since you have to experience this yourself, but I can tell you the first time you use your hands in virtual reality, it's freaking fantastic. It's so much fun. It's like stepping into the future. Of course, the only thing you will be missing after trying it is that there is no haptic feedback. So if you grab an object, if you touch something, you go straight through it. You don't feel what you are doing, and that is weird. It's like this disconnection in your brain. It is magical, but it would be so nice if you can get this haptic feedback while you are, moving around in VR with your hands. And that's something we are going to see evolve in the future with, for example, gloves, but also hand tracking, because Ultra Haptics is working on a solution. So that is quite exciting, yes. But hey, we start to digress. There is a lot more we gotta talk about. And yes, I agree, talking about the future is a great subject, but I have to stop myself now from being too passionate about VR. So let's go back to my initial point, and that is, how well does the hand tracking work? How accurate is it? How smart is the Oculus Quest exactly at tracking your fingers, your hands? So based on what I was able to test in this shard training simulator, I can say it was pretty good. But that does mean it's not perfect and that there is a lot of work that needs to be done. It worked, oh yeah, it did, but I could see the limitations. I could see the issues, and one of them being a classic. This has been a problem in the hand tracking space for years now, and that is, if you move your hands too fast, the cameras can't keep up, and then you lose tracking. Your hands disappear, and that is super weird because your brain is like, what is this for witchcraft? Where did my hands go? And that in the end could result into immersion breaking moments, or even worse, you get frustrated over it. Because imagine if you are an employee and you have to do this insurance training and you constantly have to worry about where your hands are going, then you can't focus on the actual task, on what you have to learn. So I hope they will be able to iron that out. They have already said that next year there will be a beta available that we can try, so we can improve the system together, because as I said before, this is a system that is eager to learn. So the more of us that try the hand tracking with the Oculus Quest, the smarter it gets. So yeah, I'm very curious to see how it will improve. Moving on to a total different subject, and that is latency. And I can tell you that I did notice a delay between my virtual hands and the real ones, but honestly, it was barely noticeable. If you wanted to look for it, then you could find it. But while I was playing, I wasn't impacted by this minor latency at all. So what they showed here at Oculus Connect was dang close to perfection. Of course, everything I tried here, all of these first impressions that I'm sharing in this video are based on this early version of hand tracking. It's work in progress and it can only get better from here. It's launching in 2020, so there is still so much time to improve and tweak. Anyways, I want to wrap things up by saying that this insurance demo gave me a good sense of how well hand tracking works on Quest and where Facebook wants to go with this. It's definitely going to open up a lot of opportunities for newcomers, enthusiasts, developers, and enterprises, because with hand tracking, VR will be easier to access, and I think that's awesome. That's great for the entire VR community. Exciting times indeed, folks. Hand tracking will be coming to the Oculus Quest in 2020 and will be available for free for consumers and also developers. I can't wait. Let me know in the comments below what you would like to experience in virtual reality with your hands. And now it's time for me to sign off, and as I always say, and I see you all next time. See you in the metaverse. Bye bye. See ya later. And also, please leave a like on this video. Let me know you care. Yes. Whew. Well, that was a great topic to talk about.